Or the first woman
We already
president.
have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all know it.
Michelle Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it. When she cleans it.
Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died. When
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's a man.
Joan Rivers once dropped a bombshell before her death, claiming that Michelle Obama was a man. It was one of those comments that made everyone pause, laugh awkwardly, and then quickly move on. But what if there's more to it than just a bad joke? Stick around because the truth behind Michelle Obama's carefully crafted public image might just shock you. From political speeches to lavish vacations, Michelle has built an empire on empowerment. But not everyone's buying the story. Let's dive into what's really going on behind the headlines.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady,
Yeah, I know.
you're rich as Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
you are worth
right.
so
I
much
know.
money.
Damn.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
I mean, it's a bunch of rich people talking about rich people.
Michelle Obama has long been hailed as America's first lady, and more recently, as an icon of health and empowerment. But here's the twist. What if everything we've been told about her is just a carefully crafted narrative? One minute, she's the face of the healthy school lunch program, championing quinoa and kale. The next, she's attending star-studded events, rubbing elbows with billionaires. Talk about a transformation. For years, Michelle portrayed herself as the everywoman, speaking on struggles that resonated with many. But slowly, a different picture started to emerge, one of luxury, high-profile speeches, and a brand that seemed more polished than the average person's reality. Was it all genuine, or was there a strategic makeover at play? In the beginning, Michelle's image was that of a relatable, down-to-earth figure, the mom next door who had it all together. But as time passed, her public persona evolved into something far more curated, almost like a performance. And with that came a surge in public admiration and criticism. But what was behind this evolution? Was it simply the natural progression of a woman stepping into her own, or was something more calculated at work?
President dies, everyone in the world shows up, and she doesn't break her vacation. It's not like she doesn't have access to a jet. Something is going on. Let's speculate.
Yes, please.
It's either surgery.
Oh.
That was my least controversial thing.
Depends what kind of surgery.
She will not sit close to the dictator. And by that, I don't mean Hillary, I mean Donald Trump. Or there's trouble in paradise between Barack and Michelle. I've heard things. I'm not going to substantiate that by repeating these rumors on national TV like I just did. But I'm just saying it's very odd that she's not there.
Enter Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld, two unlikely figures who have taken Michelle Obama's polished public image and dissected it with a level of honesty that most are too afraid to touch. While many celebrate her speeches on inequality and social justice, Rogan and Gutfeld aren't so easily impressed. Rogan has repeatedly called out Michelle's hypocrisy, especially when it comes to her messaging about wealth inequality. How can she talk about inequality when she's worth millions and lives in multiple mansions? He asked, pointing out the glaring contradiction in her advocacy. And it's not just about the money. Rogan sees it as a deeper issue with authenticity. He claims Michelle's version of fighting for the underprivileged while being surrounded by luxury is just a performance. Then there's Greg Gutfeld, who doesn't hold back in his satirical style. He's mocked Michelle for her health crusade, pointing out that while she's lecturing Americans about healthy living, her own lifestyle doesn't exactly scream struggle. It's the kind of biting humor that questions the authenticity of a woman who's become the face of wellness, yet somehow seems disconnected from the very people she's trying to help.
Divorce rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men. Terrible that you would applaud that.
Let's talk about Michelle Obama's crusade for healthier school lunches. She made it her mission to change the way kids eat in America, pushing for a diet filled with kale, quinoa, and all the superfoods that were supposed to revolutionize cafeteria menus. But here's the kicker. What happened when the food hit the trays? Well, let's just say it wasn't exactly a culinary uprising. Instead of a healthy revolution, kids were trading their soggy spinach and quinoa mush for pizza slices under the table, and complaints flooded in. Now, that's not to say healthy eating isn't important, but when Michelle walked into the public eye with salad tongs in hand, she was almost treated like the culinary equivalent of a general storming Normandy, fighting for a better future with every leaf of kale. Yet, for many Americans, it was more like a war crime against their taste buds. And Michelle didn't just stop there. Her entire health initiative was framed as a life-saving mission. But let's not forget the irony. While she was lecturing the public on healthy eating, her own lifestyle looked a little different. After all, we're talking about a woman who can afford the finest organic foods and private chefs. Yet she was trying to convince an entire generation of school kids that soggy greens and lentils were a revolutionary meal. This wasn't a health plan. It was a marketing campaign, and it left many wondering just how authentic it really was.
Michelle Obama has openly admitted that she and Barack sleep in separate bedrooms. Here's how it works. She sleeps downstairs, and he likes men.
But here's where it gets even stranger. While Michelle Obama has built a public persona of being everywhere, constantly attending high-profile events, advocating for causes, there have been a few instances where she's notably absent. For example, when the world mourned the passing of a prominent figure, Michelle was nowhere to be seen. And no, it wasn't because she didn't have access to a private jet. So what happened? Was it just bad timing? Or is there something more going on? Now, this is where the rumors start swirling. There are whispers, rumors that won't die, that Michelle's marriage to Barack might not be as picture perfect as it seems. Could there be trouble in paradise? It's been said that Michelle and Barack have a distant relationship, even openly admitting they sleep in separate bedrooms. Add to that the fact that Michelle seems to take these mysterious absences in stride, and the speculation only grows. Is it just a coincidence, or is there more beneath the surface? Some even say that Michelle's absence during key moments, like the president's most emotional events, could hint at deeper personal or political rifts. And while these rumors remain unverified, it's hard to ignore how often she's absent when you'd expect her to be front and center. So, what is it? Is it just a busy schedule? Or are we missing a bigger story that Michelle's carefully curated image doesn't want us to see?
You know, it's just good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica.
Michelle Obama didn't just build an image. She constructed a brand, one so perfectly crafted that it almost seems like it was designed by a marketing genius. From her speeches to her fashion choices, everything about Michelle's public life feels like a carefully rehearsed performance. And let's be real, she's a master at it. But here's the twist. How did we go from let's move campaigns to deep philosophical essays on finding your true voice? Her speeches, while undeniably motivational, often feel like they're more about creating a brand than delivering real substance. Every word is calculated to evoke just the right amount of emotion. It's a TED Talk wrapped in soft lighting, designed to inspire, but never really challenge. When she speaks about adversity, it's as though she's never had to face the kind of struggles the average American does. But somehow, this portrayal has worked. She's positioned herself as not just a former First Lady, but the ultimate voice on empowerment and wellness. And don't forget the fashion. Oh, Michelle's wardrobe is almost as political as her speeches. Each outfit carefully chosen to send a message. When she wears a sleeveless dress, it's not just about style. It's about strength. When she wears a cardigan, it's about relatability. Every appearance has a purpose, and it's all designed to fit the narrative of, I'm just like you. But let's not kid ourselves. Nothing says down to earth like custom-made outfits and personal stylists.
Michelle thinks American men suck.
Let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage. To the women listening, we have every right to demand that the men in our lives do better by us. We have to use our voices to make these choices clear to the men that we love. Our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment.
What's that pitter-patter sound I'm hearing in the background? It's the footsteps of Barack running to vote for Trump. So, Kat.
But here's where it gets interesting. What happens when we peel back the layers of this perfectly polished brand? What happens when the role model image starts to crack? Enter Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld, the unlikely duo who've been unafraid to point out the inconsistencies between Michelle Obama's public persona and the reality behind the curtain. And trust me, it's not pretty. While Michelle's brand thrives on relatability, the truth is she's far from the everywoman she's made herself out to be. Her wealth, her mansions, and her celebrity lifestyle scream anything but just like us. She's the queen of curated struggle, the woman who writes books about overcoming adversity while living in multi-million-dollar homes. It's like Marie Antoinette preaching minimalism from her palace. What makes this whole situation even messier is how Michelle has expertly positioned herself as a cultural icon of empowerment, all while avoiding any real, difficult scrutiny. She's turned struggle into a brand. But the reality, well, it's far more complicated than the perfectly posed photos and inspirational quotes. It's hard to take advice on living your best life from someone who's never had to truly fight for it. And yet, Michelle has done exactly that. Sold us a version of herself that is at once untouchable and relatable, all while carefully crafting her image to fit whatever narrative suits the moment.
They know that they're having a hard time with men.
Right.
Doesn't seem like this is the right strategy.
No.
She basically says that they're hurting women by voting for Trump.
But I think they don't understand that where it comes from in the first place is that people are sick of being told how bad they are and talked down to, and you know, the condescension doesn't work. None of what they're doing really works. I mean, the Walls AOC live stream of them playing Madden together was supposed to be to get like dudes who like football on their side, and they did it during football.
Now, let's throw a twist into the mix. What if all this branding isn't just about books, podcasts, and fitness? What if Michelle Obama is eyeing something even bigger, a political career? There's been chatter, rumors, whispers that Michelle might just run for office someday. Can you imagine it? The first woman president of the United States, a symbol of empowerment, health, and unity. It sounds like the next natural step in her carefully orchestrated narrative. But here's the kicker. While her public persona has been all about breaking down barriers, her absence from major political moments has been glaring. Sure, she's played the supportive wife during Barack's presidency, but could she really stand on her own political platform without the aura of Obama backing her? And let's talk about the reality here. Michelle is no political outsider. She's been in the White House for 8 years, running one of the most powerful countries in the world. So, if she were to run for office, would it be as a beacon of change or as someone who's been part of the system all along? Rogan and Gutfeld have both speculated that Michelle's polished image and her brand might be the perfect political weapon. After all, in politics, perception is everything. The more the media builds her up as the unifying force, the more it feels like she's being prepped for a grander role. But here's the big question. Does she have the substance to match the style, or is she just another product of political performance?
Even if they run Michelle. According to a new poll, Michelle Obama isn't as strong a Democratic candidate against former President Donald Trump as many Dems would have you believe. In a hypothetical matchup, my favorite kind, Trump wins with 47% of the vote compared to Michelle Obama's 44%. I guess some of the kids whose school lunches she ruined are finally old enough to vote.
And now, after all that, we're left with one undeniable truth. Michelle Obama has mastered the art of being everywhere without ever really being anywhere. Her public image is so meticulously curated that it almost feels like a full-time job, and she's doing it better than anyone. From the well-timed speeches to the Instagram posts designed to inspire, Michelle has turned authenticity into a business model. But here's the catch. While everyone is busy applauding her, no one's really asking the hard questions. How much of Michelle Obama is real? And how much of it is just a brilliant, well-executed performance? She's the queen of the curated struggle, a woman who tells us to be our best while living in the lap of luxury. She preaches about the importance of unity, yet her brand seems to thrive on dividing opinions and selling us a version of her life that's far from the everyday struggles the average person faces. And so, the real question remains, will Michelle Obama continue to build her empire on inspirational quotes, Netflix specials, and the occasional TED Talk? Or will the cracks in her carefully constructed image eventually be too much to hide? One thing's for sure, whether she's planning to run for president or just remain the queen of moral superiority, Michelle's influence is undeniable. But as the whispers continue, so will the speculation. Is she truly the voice of the people or just the greatest political brand the world has ever seen?